Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. So, I've got a ton of messages, emails, DMs, calls on what happened to the last episode, Dallas Alexander, the Canadian special ops sniper, who was on the team that took the world record for the farthest sniper kill of all time. Here's what happened. I received a cease and desist from Dallas's former unit, and they are basically saying that I need to pull all the episodes because there may be sensitive content within the episode. So, I'm trying to do what's best for everybody here, okay? If there is sensitive information within that episode, I am not going to be the guy to jeopardize any of the operators within that unit or anything that may compromise that unit as a whole. They are an allied unit to the United States. I've worked with them. They are an awesome bunch of guys over there. Now, what I find ironic is Dallas has a legitimate concern that he is being silenced by his former unit because he was fired for not taking the COVID-19 vaccine or complying with mask mandates. Now, I hope that's not what this is about, but if this episode disappears, you know exactly what it was. So, we pulled that episode. We're going to work with that unit and hopefully re-release the beginning portion of that episode. The other thing that I've done is I have pulled all operational content out of the episode, so there is absolutely nothing in there that could be considered classified or sensitive content. So if it gets pulled, you know what it was. He's being silenced. Now, the other thing that I find ironic about this sensitive subject is, one, Dallas assured me that he had cleared everything with the people at that command before he came on the show. Secondly, what I find ironic is there was a press release done giving up the location of those operators who were on that sniper team and took the shot when they killed that man before they were even gone from the site. So they compromised the sniper team's location before they even left. Now, I don't know what could be more sensitive than the actual operator's location on site after they took out an ISIS fighter, but I'm going to go with the benefit of the doubt here, and I'm going to hope that that's all this is. So, anyways, there are a lot of people out there these days who claim to be patriots because they voted for a certain way or they watch a certain news channel. It used to mean something to be a patriot. Now, Dallas is trying to get his story out, and what he's talking about on here is how he left that unit, which I won't mention the name of the unit because it might be classified. But he's trying to get his story out on why he was fired from that unit. And so if you're going to call yourself a patriot, then I suggest you share this episode with everyone you know. That's the toll I'm going to ask. Share this episode with everyone you know. Please give us a like, subscribe, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And there's a lot of other podcasters out there. If you guys have the balls to have Dallas on your show, I'd be happy to make a connection for you. This guy needs to get his story out. It's important. They are erasing history, people. Do you get it? All right. I love you all. We have a quick message from Dallas himself. I hope you all enjoy the show. And watch out for those UAPs. They're coming to get you, and that's what we're talking about on the episode after this. Love you all. Cheers. Enjoy the show.
Yo, what's happening, friends? So There's been some concern brought up about the Shawn Ryan Show podcast, about the episode we did together, from some entities in Canada here. They're concerned that there might be some OPSEC breaches, I guess. This is something I took very seriously prior to going on the show. I consulted with a ton of people currently serving, recently retired, deployed and not deployed. People whose opinions I really, really respect. So that's why I went and had the conversation with Shawn and talked about what I did and left out the things that I did. Anyway, there's a lot of backlash. Sorry, a lot of backlash. So it's coming from certain groups here in Canada. So I think we're going to address them in a professional manner, and that's absolutely what Shawn is. So there you have it.
One last thing, and this is for Dallas. Dallas, I just want you to know I really respect everything you're doing. So does everybody here in America. And here in America, we fucking love freedom of speech. We love freedom. We love people that stand up for what they believe in, and that's exactly what you represent. It would be an honor to have you in this country. We need more people like you in this country today. So I'm just saying, God bless freedom. God bless you, Dallas. And God bless the USA.
All right, Dallas. Let's get into why you left.
All right. So the last couple of years, last few years, I kind of alluded to it before a little bit. Like, I didn't like the direction that we were starting to head.
Let's talk about what year this is.
This was probably around, when did the fucking COVID thing start? 2020, right?
2020, the very beginning of 2020.
Yeah, so it was like tail end, beginning of 2019 maybe, tail end 2018. So it was like just starting, and there'd been a couple steps throughout my time there where I saw it changing, in a way.
So right about the time all this woke stuff started hitting the news.
That's right. So in the news, it infiltrated fucking briefing time. It infiltrated like different training that they wanted everyone in the Canadian Forces to go through.
What kind of training?
Oh, like sensitivity training to everything you can imagine. Like, from like just every category of wokeness, it seemed like there was a sensitivity course that came along with it. Now,
so instead of learning how to kill people,
exactly,
you're learning how to not hurt anybody's feelings.
This is the trade-off that I'm like, why the fuck are we doing this? So one, within this gate of there's no, like, we don't have big issues in all of these places. Now, do I think people need to be nice to other people? Yes. Do I think it needs to take away from my fucking range time because you have some agenda? No. And that was starting to happen, and it was like a little bit more and a little bit more. I just saw it going in a direction that I didn't like. When, like, this COVID thing happened, they mandated. So already we're headed in a direction that I'm not super fond of. And then the COVID happened, everything grinds to this unnecessary halt, in my opinion. And we're waiting to see what happens. Like, okay, there's a vaccine coming out. Okay. So I'm just reading about it. I'm seeing what they're saying on the news. I'm reading other things. I'm just staying very open-minded. I'm like, okay, what do I feel like this is something that I am concerned about? Am I scared? Like, is there a fucking black plague sweeping planet Earth? And like, at what level? And it's almost like the protector of the family kicks in, right? You're like, what level do I need to be concerned? As things were coming, even like what the news is reporting, I'm like, okay, I understand that they're trying to scare everyone. I don't see anything that I need to be concerned of. Mm-hmm. We're looking at demographics. We're looking at fatality rates, all these things. I'm like, I'm not concerned about this. To me, like you're getting numbers. Like, anyway, I'm just like,
No, I
feel
mean, it came out. You know, it's not,
Yeah.
they were bullshit numbers. There's no ifs, ands, or but about it. They were reporting people that died in car accidents and motorcycle accidents, people that were shot.
That's right.
You know, people that were dying from other illnesses that may have had COVID.
Yeah.
You know, you could have died from fucking cancer, but if you had COVID,
Yeah.
you died from COVID.
Yeah.
If you were in a car accident and fucking died and had COVID, it wasn't the car accident that killed you.
Yeah.
It was COVID that killed
right.
you. You know, so it's, the numbers were fudged.
And that was, I mean, from the way I see it, that was to just like get everybody in line. Like, be scared, do your part. And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. From what I'm seeing right now, I'm not concerned about it. So I was like, I look at it like the flu shot. Every year there's a flu shot. I'm not concerned about the flu, so I don't get it. The government, the unit, had a different opinion because obviously it's the government organization. So they mandated that you had to have it. I was like,
This episode is sponsored by HVMN. HVMN is one of those supplements that I wish I would have had when I was an active duty Navy SEAL. You've heard the buzz about ketone supplements and how they can boost your workouts by helping your body use fatty acids for fuel. I take a shot of HVMN's ketone supplement before my morning workout. It's focused energy. It's not an energy drink though. It's like a feeling of being in the zone. I don't feel hyper jittery, anxiety, stuff like I get when I drink too much coffee. Ketone IQ comes in portable, convenient shots. Definitely a unique opportunity here in offering my audience 20% off your order of Ketone IQ. You can find Ketone IQ at hvmn.com. Use the promo code Shawn at checkout and save 20%. Plus, if you subscribe, you can save even more. Promo code Shawn. Again, that's hvmn.com. Promo code Shawn for 20% off Ketone IQ.
I just was like, no. In this particular case, no. And I would have done the same thing, honestly, if they're like, the flu shot's now mandatory. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not taking it. I don't require it. I don't see risk. And this is like, as I've evolved, or hopefully evolved, but like learning about health and all these different things, I'm like, okay, there's places for different medications. It should be up to the individual to make that assessment. Your own fucking health, especially fucking injecting something in your body. Like, it's the ultimate like overstep on someone's freedom. Like, you must inject this. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. I'm like, this doesn't seem like it's for me. I had to go to the appointment anyway. But at this point, we're not ordered to take it. The tricky wording, the coercion, and all the stuff I saw was like, other than a couple cases of people that I know that were directly ordered to do it, I even think those were mistakes that people recognize later. Like, shit, I don't think that was within my... like, I didn't have the right to do that. Now, that says everything passed. What's going to happen, who knows? But I saw a lot of fucking coercion. And I declined getting my first shots on a Friday afternoon. And by Monday, I was being threatened to be kicked out of the unit. Kicked out of my troop by my sergeant major. I'd never seen a reaction. I was telling you this yesterday. Like, I've never seen a reaction like that to almost anything. Like, in my opinion, I could have fucking drove my truck through the front gate, and it would not be that reaction. It'd be like, hey, man, like, fuck, something's obviously going on. Let's figure it out. It's just something. Like, there's pretty all right support prior to this, and it was like a fucking snap of fingers. Like, overnight, it just changed so drastically with this narrative that, like, after being at the unit for almost 14 years and just declining, and all I said is, I want to have more time to see something, because there was information coming out about, like, Johnson & Johnson not being great. Don't get that one. AstraZeneca, there's some problems, like there's blood clots, and there's all these things. And I'm like, I just told him, like, I just want more time. I was like, I couldn't believe the reaction, like, so fucking fast. I was like, okay. It's like, this is a weird one.
So what was everybody else doing at the unit?
It depends on
it
the
torn?
person. There a lot of people were torn, but a lot of people were coerced. A lot of people were told like you're not going to advance in your career. You're going to be kicked out. So the end result was you're going to be kicked out of the military, a 5F release, I think it's called, if you don't comply. Like the most drastic shit I've ever seen. So like not only like you're not on a list of deployable right now because maybe I don't know, some other country has a problem with it or whatever. It's like you're fucking kicked out. Like it was insane. And that led to, so this would have been probably, man, I want to say like October, end of the year 2020. By time like everything happened and the 2020, 2021, no, 2020. And they were like, this was in place. And now they have a bunch of people throughout the CAF that are like, yeah, we're not doing this. Okay, begin the release process. You look at what are your options. And there was like exemptions. There were some exemptions that they wrote about. Very rarely were those accepted. So I wrote in to get exemptions for a whole bunch of different things that I believed. And I talked to like an indigenous elder from around where I was from. And like, I mean, we didn't really get into it. I'm not really a religious dude in terms of the dogma in any particular book, but I'm a spiritual guy for sure. And just, I have beliefs in things that are bigger than us. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's all just an accident of whatever. But the advice I got from like a person that I deem spiritual, religious, whatever it is, was like, don't do it yet. Like, this is the same government that fucking took our indigenous people and threw them into like these schooling projects to like teach the Indian out of them. Like, that was not that long ago.
Yeah.
There's a scar left on the indigenous people that's like, well, no, we're just going to trust everything you say. We've done that before. And it was a sentiment of like, what is natural, what do you feel, what will we believe in our belief system? And I tried to put this into a, like, here's another reason that I think in this particular time, like, I want to be exempt from this. And like the cadre of the fucking army or whatever was like, no, that's not a legitimate religious fucking thing. I'm like, fuck you, you cocksucker. So simultaneous to all this, I'm like starting to get in administrative trouble, which has never happened before in my career, because I'm not playing the mask charade either. We'd have a conversation in a room, me and you, or whoever was in my team or det, no mask required. It's fucking stupid. We can all assess this now. It's been going on for, at this point, like almost a year. Next room, I don't need masks. We can all agree it's fucking stupid. Oh, so-and-so's coming to the meeting. You got to put on a mask. I was like, no. And this just kept happening. And people would get upset. And I'm like, too fucking bad. Like, this is all a charade right now. I see you in conversations with certain people until it's time to virtue signal to a bigger group or whatever. Like, it's all a charade. And I'm not playing this game. And so it'd be like, I'd get in trouble. So I'm like, oh, can you just fucking please put a mask on? I'm like, no. Like, they're like, the next one's going to be up the level of fucking administrative problems. Like, at what point are you going to see that I don't give a fuck anymore? Like, I was now chasing up medical issues that I had, all the MTBI stuff I was telling you about, and I was getting a medical release process started because I was gonna be kicked out. Now, look,
How many guys are you leading the charge here? Are other guys following in your footsteps?
I was out front for sure. Different people took different approaches. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people that are no longer in that were. I'll put it that way. I didn't really get permission from anyone to talk about their own situations, but like, Yeah, I was putting my foot down, and most people, whether they caved or not, really appreciated.
Yeah.
There's obviously a collection of people that didn't. So I was now chasing up a medical release. In hindsight, I'm like, what a fucking blessing, because like I needed to stop exposing my brain to impacts. This was just the catalyst. It was like, yeah, I'm crossing that line. But I everything was bringing on these concussion symptoms. So looking back on it, I'm like, whew. But it just, I couldn't believe how it fucking changed overnight. And then the final like straw was I was going to a meeting to hear about why my exemptions were declined. Why some person who didn't even fucking come talk to me or talk to the person that I spoke with declared like religious exemption, no. Medical exemption, no. Like even I brought up all of these concerns, myocarditis, all these different things that were showing up in young men who are not at risk of fucking dying from COVID. And I'm just like, no. All these things are no. So I was going to this meeting for them to tell me why everything was declined. The meeting just happened to be at like a meeting room, and I didn't put a mask on. And then,
Can we have the conversation that you had with the gentleman before you entered that room?
yeah,
You
so
told me
I was
last night.
I was talking, and my like chain of command knew, and they didn't like my immediate chain of command. I mean, and he was like escorting me in, my sergeant major, and he was like, "Hey man, they're gonna ask you to put a mask on." I was like, I know. And he's like, "Can you do it?" It's like, fuck no. So he went in to kind of give the room a heads up. And this was like the ultimate, like, because I could have just fucking put it on. And I wore balaclavas all over the fucking place. But like the principle behind this nonsense I was seeing, this charade, like it was just such a joke. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it. So the RSM comes out, like, I need you to put a mask on, Dallas. Like, I'm not doing it. I don't even own a fucking mask. And that it escalated a little bit. Instead of using my first name, call me by rank. I told him when his stature got a little bit up, and I was just like, don't get fucking pokey chest with me. And I use it, well, I won't use his name here, but, and then he's like, get out. So he goes down, open the door to this building. I was like, you coming outside with me? He's like, just looked away, went inside, and that was the last time I ever had access to fucking even get on camp.
Wow, that's how it ended?
That's how it ended. So I got in my truck. My sergeant major came out, and he's like, fuck. I was like, look, man, I know the position I just put you in, but I don't give a fuck anymore. And I drove home, and like my pass never worked again. So all the clear out process and everything had to be done through people on camp. I got a little charge on the way out for that. I can't even remember what it was called. That behavior towards the RSM. And that was like see you later. It's crazy.
That's insane.
It's fucking insanity. But like I was saying, I think yesterday I mentioned this. Just like,
I liked what you said at dinner. You had mentioned that you asked the sergeant major, you said, well, is everybody in that room masked?
yeah, so I asked, I said, is everybody in the room going to be wearing a mask? He said, absolutely. I said, then that means you're all safe, if they work. And if they don't, and you're not safe, then why are you telling me to put one on? And that's when he started using my rank instead of my name.
Well, what else are you going to say to that?
Well, it just shows.
Here you go, Sergeant Major. This is fucking what common sense looks
yeah,
like.
Where
Did yours go?
That's the thing. Where the fuck did it go? Yeah, so that was like the last day I was ever. All the release.
Do you feel
like I
that
said,
that destroyed a big part of
No. at least not for me. So one, I think it was already going in a direction that I didn't like, that it wasn't for me. It was not, the unit was no longer, or is at least rapidly turning into a place that the people they selected were not going to fit in there anymore. And I recognize that for me, in my own personal thing. So the unit is still full of fucking super hard charging professional motherfuckers. The best workforce friends, brothers I've ever worked with. There is a portion that needs a realignment.
Is that portion growing?
I think maybe because the other portion's shrinking,
Yeah.
it would appear to be growing. But like when I go chat with the boys, like I don't feel like the numbers are growing where people are like, yeah, you know what? We need to be forced to do more shit. And we need to like really soak up all this woke business. Like no one's saying that. Unless the most important thing to you in the world is your career. So like it's still, there's just still fucking great warriors there.
Yeah.
So I leave and like the unit, I never expected, whenever I got out, no matter how it was, I didn't expect that like this unit's gonna come to a halt. Like, oh my God, Dallas is leaving the unit because you're just a fucking dude in a big organization. Like the train just keeps going. But I didn't expect it to end like that. But I have just really good friends and brothers out of it all that like, no matter the bullshit, I've had my back in a lot of ways.
They did lose a lot of stuff though by losing you. I mean, what percentage of the unit do you think left because of the jab mandates and the woke agenda, and because this is happening across the world, you know, and when I get guys in who are fresh out, I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah.
They've demoralized all of the units, and the attrition rate, it's a joke.
Yeah.
The attrition rate is a joke now. They can't keep anybody in. They can't recruit anybody.
That's right.
Because they miscalculated who joins the military, especially who serves who wants to serve in a soft environment at that capacity, at that level.
Well, I don't know if the people really making the calls for this to happen want units like that.
Well, that's what we can get into that in a minute.
Okay.
but I guess what I'm saying is, you know, this is just an estimation. It's not based off any factual information other than just who I know left
Yeah.
the SEAL teams because of the jab. And I'm going to say it's damn close to 50%,
Yeah.
you know, between the woke agenda and the jab mandates. I mean, these are the only people in the fucking country that stand up for what they believe in.
Yeah.
Everybody else has just got their head down and they're just trying to get through the day. These are the only fucking people that step up to the plate.
Yeah.
You know, and they just left. And when they left, let's say it is 50%, you know, I mean, dude, you were on the team that has the world record for the longest sniper kill in world history.
But the TL is also, I can't remember what step he's at now, but he was being kicked out for the same reason.
There you go. So here you have an all-star sniper team at the top level, and you're not going to be able to pass that knowledge on to the next guys.
Yeah, like the
Do you
corporate,
know how fucking detrimental that is?
the corporate knowledge it's fucking mind blowing. And even like, I don't know the numbers of guys that got out, but I know a large number of people that don't want to be there.
And that's just two people.
Yeah.
That's just two people.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to get your mindset. They're not going to get your, you know, the hard skills. They're not going to get the soft skills. None of it.
Yeah.
They're not going to get it. You
Yeah.
know, and there aren't any other wars happening right now. You know, and so that experience it's going to get real thin.
Yeah.
It's going to get real hard to come by.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would say they lost a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge by doing that.
It is crazy. Yeah, it just, there's so many things that seem so backwards to me.
Now going back to the, you don't think they want people like that? When I saw the defund the police movement happen in the U.S.,
Yeah.
that was immediately I was like, they are going to get rid of the old guard and replace that with the new mindset that's going to do whoever these fucking people are that are pushing this agenda.
Yeah.
They want to replace the
Yeah.
old guard with the new guard that's going to do whatever
Exactly
they
what
have
you
to say.
Yeah.
And then we saw it carry over from the defund the police movement. Then the new administration took over. Now we're seeing it, not even just special operations units, military wide. They're restructuring
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like historically almost, and I'm not much of a military historian, but like you have groups of guys in SOF. I'll say guys because we've never had a female assaulter, but like selected to think outside the box, to use common sense, to assess certain things, to hold their fucking ground, to not get bullied. And then it was like this big surprise at the end, like, oh, you must be going through something. You've changed. It's like, motherfuckers, I didn't change. This is who you selected. You selected someone to not be bullied into shit I didn't want to do. And now you're seeing it. Like, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, just standing my ground. Like, it's like the ultimate fucking selection test. And like, so I just, rode on out the gate and turned to country music.
Is there anything you regret about? I mean, you stood up for what you believe in. Is there any? Do you have any regrets? To the guys that are still in that unit, when the next mandate comes down the pipe.
Yeah, no, man, I don't. And I stood my ground. I'm trying to think if there's anywhere where I was like, maybe I just do something. I don't think so. I stood my ground everywhere. And I know I was a pain in the ass to people because I'm like, I'm not doing that. And now it's next level. I'm not doing like, I'm not even signing that administrative fucking wrist slap that you're giving me. Shred it, keep it, I don't care. Like, it was just so absurd. I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
So I stood my ground in places. And I'm so happy now that I'm out that I did. And like I said, it was, looking back, like all the concussions, MTBI stuff and everything piling up. I think it's a good thing overall anyway. But in that sense, no regrets at all. And I was telling people my opinion, why I was doing it, And I don't care. If guys wanted it, go fucking take it. Take 2, take 3, have 5 boosters and stuff. Like, I don't particularly care what drugs you assess personally that you want to use. Use everything Pfizer makes. Use none of what he make. Like, I truly fucking believe in freedom. So it was never like, hey man, don't do this. Don't do this. I'm like, here's some things that I'm reading.
Yeah.
Here's some things that I'm seeing. Think about it.
You're
health,
not an anti-vaxxer.
No,
you
it's
just
like,
want choice.
I just want choice. Anyone can take whatever they want. But it definitely got me looking into more ingredients of things. And it started with me and my family a while back. What's in our food? What's in our cleaning products? What's in our water? And I'm like, I'm not going to do all of this. And then like, what's in that thing? There's some mRNA and a bunch of other things we don't really know about. Sure, give it. So it's just, I'm not anti-medication. I'm not anti-vaccine if those are the things you want to do. I am anti you telling me what I have to put in my fucking body to fit into society. We have to go to a restaurant. Like, those are our mandates in Canada. Like, you show a vax pass, you can't come eat here.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. A lot of
Everywhere?
places- it's now it's done. It's mostly done. But the mandate from the government is like, you can't get on a plane, a train, or a bus. You can't go eat at restaurants. Every restaurant was required, or they could be shut down, to ask you for proof of fucking COVID vaccination.
I've been drinking this coffee alternative every single morning. It's called Mud Water. It's got 4 adaptogenic mushrooms and Enerveric herbs. With only a fraction of caffeine as a cup of coffee, Mud Water can help you get energy without jitters or the crash of coffee. Each ingredient was added for a specific purpose. Cacao and chai for mood and a microdose of caffeine. Lion's mane to help with alertness. Cordyceps to help support physical performance. Chaga and reishi to help support your immune system. Turmeric for minor occasional soreness, and cinnamon for antioxidants. My favorite ingredient is lion's mane because it helps with my alertness. Mud is Whole30 approved, 100% USDA organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher certified. Mudwater donates monthly to a public education center for psychedelic research, as Mudwater believes the country is in a mental health epidemic and sees psychedelics as useful tools to aid individuals with depression, PTSD, anxiety, and other mental health problems. Go to mudwater.com/Shawn to support the show and use code ShawnMud for 15% off. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. All right, everybody listen up. I want to tell you about Hoist, IV level hydration, my latest sponsor. Hoist has half the sugar and 3 times the electrolytes than other sports drinks without artificial dyes or preservatives. Hoist is also used by the military. They up the ante for hydration in the military by offering them a product with less sugar and more electrolytes than they were previously being provided from competitors. For those of you that spent any time overseas in the military in a chow hall, you know the drink selection was very limited. Now you have Hoist. My favorite flavor, blue raspberry. You can use their store locator on their website to find a store near you, or you can purchase directly from drinkhoist.com, where you can use my code Shawn to save 20% off your first order on their website. Hoist also offers 10% off to military and first responders on every order. That's every purchase. Go check out their website at drinkhoist.com and use my code Shawn to save 20% off your first order. Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard they were doing that in some states here. We don't do that shit here in Tennessee.
Yeah, I gotta come to Tennessee more.
You might like it. You'd fit in great.
But yeah, so it's just, for me, it's always been just like, it's the freedom I question. I'm like, so many guys gave so fucking much to try and have that fight for freedom. And like, you know, friends that have died. And you're like, for it just to be like, not even taken really so much as just like handed right over.
Yeah.
Most people are just like, fuck, take it. Take my freedom. I'll take this so that I can go eat at a restaurant. If that's what you say I need to do. I'm like, oh my God.
Where do you think this all came from? Where's
man.
it stemming from?
I see, like, okay, these are conspiracies, but
I
don't
love
know.
a good
I don't
conspiracy
know
theory.
at what point they come out of the realm of. It seems like nothing ever gets out of the realm of conspiracy if it's not in the news to some people, regardless of what it is. Like, there's now a ton of. You can go back and watch hours of video where they're like, here's what the vaccine is. Here's what it's going to do. Here's what it's going to do. And you just see that narrative change as like it's undeniable. Everyone's triple vaccinated, still getting COVID. Mm-hmm. Oh, but it's gonna. You're not gonna die, or you're gonna die less. Like, there's no fucking way to measure that.
Yeah.
I had COVID twice, and I'm like, I didn't die. It was uncomfortable, but like, if I had 3 shots of whatever, was that going to be less than I had?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you measure that? It's a good way to trick people though, because it's a metric that you can't measure. You can only have someone say, you're not doing your part because you might die in an ICU and take up a bed for blah, 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 blah. I did my part and my COVID didn't kill me. You're like, what the fuck? It's clever as shit to have the narrative change from dead stop, this is going to stop you from getting or spreading COVID. Those videos are out there. Your president said that. A bunch of people said that. And then, oh, well, no, it was never really intended to stop the spread. It was to reduce critical symptoms. You're like,
Yeah.
and people are like, yeah.
It's insane.
What the fuck?
It's insane.
Like, this people, conspiracy theorists, were saying it 6 months ago. Like, hey, this is not. They've never produced any studies that are showing that it's stopping any kind of spread.
Cat's out of the bag now. I know a ton of people who got the jab who got COVID.
Absolutely.
Like the cat
Yeah.
is out of the fucking bag.
Yeah.
You know?
But-
and people, I just saw, I don't even watch the news anymore,
Yeah.
anymore, but my wife had it on this morning as I was walking out, and I saw they have another booster coming out.
Oh yeah.
50% of the country is going to bend over and take that booster. They're probably waiting in line right now, all excited to take it.
It produced, so there's like, the way I see it is a spectrum. On one side, there's a lot of money at play, and people do crazy shit for money. Companies make a fucking shitload of money. When policy dictates profit, the first fucking people purchased are the policymakers. So there's like, that's just like the common sense. I feel like we can all agree on there was a lot of people that made a lot of money off this. Let's just say that's like the lower end of it all. To the other side, we're seeing things that really fit in line with a globalization that wants to happen. And this is a good catalyst for it. They say it, I mean like the people who want it, right in their own book. The Great Reset, they put it out. Everyone can go read it. It's not a conspiracy. The guy's name is on it. He wrote the fucking book. This is what we want. This has now led into a whole bunch of different ways that they can implement things. Like, you have to show proof to get into this restaurant. Maybe a handier way would be if there was an international digital ID where we knew what everything was doing, and if you don't agree, you can't get on a flight from this country to that country. Like a digital ID for everyone to travel everywhere. That's being worked on. That's already there. This is not conspiracy. The government of Canada has a known traveler digital ID program, sponsored World Economic Forum, Air Canada, certain airports. This is on the fucking government website.
Wow.
So there's not a conspiracy at all. You can log in and go check it out. Known traveler digital ID system. A year ago, to say this was a huge conspiracy. Come on, they don't want that. It's like a digitally backed central currency or whatever the acronym is for that. That's another thing. So like everyone should believe and be able to see that like there's just a lot of money at play. A ton of people made fucking billions of dollars. And on the other side, there's a lot more things pointing now that the next step that they said they want to make is where it's going. So I think that's what it was about, somewhere in that spectrum. What's next was fucking, who knows? It's crazy. Have you seen the interview with this, like the CNN reporter that was like chatting, that was caught like on a camera was recording or a phone was recording? And they're like, yeah, we're told to push all the COVID narrative, blah, 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 all through this. We're just like, okay, well, what happens now? Like, it's all over. It's like, oh, the next big push is climate change. Like, we have to, all of the momentum is going to be put on that. You're going to see it on every single screen. You're going to see it on everything. And the video got out. People are still like, no.
Damn.
Like, the fucker works for CNN.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I just saw it again yesterday.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Somewhere.
You know?
Oh, and that's the thing. Lots of people see it, but lots of people don't. And even with a recording like that, people are still like, no. What?
Yeah.
No, it's your fucking truck that's doing it. Okay.
It's insane. It is insane.
Oh, it's a rabbit hole. Go down that one a long time.
We could spend hours on that topic, but
Yeah.
But let's move into psilocybin and psychedelics.
Okay.
So let's get on something a little more positive.
Yes.
So you get out, You're dealing with some of the trauma. At some point, you decide,
Yeah, so getting out, I was noticing, like I was saying, a lot of concussion symptoms. A lot of that kind of manifested itself as anger, and a typically not angry person. My brother dying, I was having a hard time processing. It's all of that, and immediately after, it was like that's when I was drinking a lot of whiskey, and then as time passes, I'm like, it was still kind of definitely a struggle, but I was like tapering kind of my daily behavior. And I started hearing about the effects of like a big dose of psilocybin. There's podcasters that I listened to were talking about it. There's studies I was seeing being done for things like PTSD, trauma, depression, anxiety, all these things, alcoholism, or just addiction in general. And I was like, fuck it. Like, what do I got to lose? A bunch of people whose opinions in health I respect, opinions on mindset and growth, like just a bunch of things. I'm like, a bunch of Googling. Can you fucking die from taking too much mushrooms? Consensus is no. You can be in different realms for sure, but apparently no. Now, there's some odd outlier cases, like I was saying. I think there's like mental issues of some sort. Like, do your research before you take this advice.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, it's not something that people overdose from. I'm not gonna be like, because what happened is I read about it, got the Coles notes that I thought I needed, set and setting. I was in a meditative state, and I was like, set some intentions, and fucking threw down. I think it was 4 to 5 grams the first time. I like sent my wife out of my fiance and baby out of the house. I was like, okay, like I don't know, I'm not gonna have my phone on, but I'll message you. And like I think it's like 6 or 8 hours. This stuff is gonna take time to process. So I was sitting in my living room, and it like started to kick in, and it was the craziest. Not craziest. It was like I was saying. It was like one of the most profound days of my whole life. When it was all said and done, it was such a release of so many things. Like, from an outside perspective, I'm glad Sarah wasn't still there, because it would have looked like I was having a terrible, terrible trip. Like, I was on the ground, and like I got nauseous, and I was like crawling to the bathroom. I thought I was gonna puke. I'm like, oh, I wasn't sure, and there was a bunch of things. And advice I had gotten was just like, you just gotta let go. Like, when this comes, just fucking let go. And I was struggling so hard, my ego, to narrate what was happening. And like, just like, and it's almost like you're getting to a panic state. And with that, I was so nauseous. I was like, oh yeah, just like, you gotta let go, you gotta let go, you gotta, and things are fucking crazy. The visuals are crazy. Looking in the mirror and my skin is crazy. And it's like, it's reptilian shapes and stuff. Like, it was wild. And I was like, just, you're letting go, let go, let go. And I did. And I like laid down, and just like the angle, my back was to the window, but everything went dark and silent. And I was like, I remember just like throughout the whole thing, having like this beat like in my body. And it was like a powwow, like for me, like my indigenous background, it just like I heard like a powwow drum the whole time, and I felt so fucking like connected to earth, sort of thing. Like, this probably won't make a lot of sense to people who have not done psychedelics, but I fucking cried so hard, and it was like a release of, I don't even know, it was like a fucking river coming out of me, and it was like, it was kind of laid on my side away from the window, and everything was dark, but it was just like flowing. And then it went like deep into this hole, and it was like the fucking scariest I'd ever been. I was like, I'm in hell. Fuck. It's like quiet, empty. I was like, I'm dead or something. Like, even just my own thoughts were so fucking loud. And then I like just saw like my brother in that place, and he was kind of like, why are you having such a hard time with this? And it was almost like I'm over here, so now I know, but like, just like I didn't go anywhere. And it's like, what the fuck? And it was like he just through whatever means, I don't even remember if it was like saying these words, but just like I've gone nowhere. Like I'm always as close as like to as thin as your eyelids kind of thing is what I came out of it with. And I was like, what the fuck? And this warm feeling came over me. And like, and I was no longer like afraid that I was dead, I guess. And then at the same time, like this is crazy. This octopus like thing like gave me almost like a hug. I just felt like so warm. And it was like, it was my little daughter, like
Damn.
that essence or whatever. And I laid back down, like I turned over and I looked at the ceiling and it was like this fucking path to heaven, man. Like my living room ceiling. I look at it a million times since then now and I'm like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? But like I was seeing like a lineage, like it was like a path. All of the men in my family to like great wherever. And it was like all of that was a part of me. I'd never felt that before.
Do you have that much? Do you know about your family lineage?
A little bit.
As
So,
far
like,
as it went, do you think?
No. There was like mystery people in that thing. But like it's just a part of me.
It was an intuitive feeling.
Yeah. Like the wisdom of this, everything that is me is like from all of these men. And then almost just after, it was like the same thing, but for all the mothers in my line. Like it was like the love and warmth from that side. It was almost like all the way up to like Mother Earth sort of thing, you know?
Wow.
It was weird, man. And it was like, it happened a couple of other times, and we can talk about those stories later, but it was like, as much as so many of the struggles here feel like you're alone. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of it, and we're terrible for this in our community of just like, well, that fucker's not gonna understand. Like, I'm talking to this guy, he doesn't get it. Like, and I'm not even like, I didn't have a crazy career. I've had some close calls a couple times. They don't, and I've been snapped back to those in a couple of loud scenarios. But like, some of the guys you had sit in this chair, I'm like, I was saying this yesterday, like, to just be humbled to be telling this story, but like, I have not had that level of career. So I can't imagine some guys just thinking they're in it alone. You know what I mean? Like, people don't fucking get it. And I had that, but this was showing me like, it was such a fucking warm embrace of like all of this lineage of mothers, really, that like, you're never, if shit's really hard, you're just like, you're not alone here. You come from this. You come from all of this. And none of these people went anywhere. The physical state, obviously, has gone somewhere. It's in the fucking ground or a pile of ashes. But, like, the being is, like, this is all you, all the way up to the fucking beginning of time. Like, it's so crazy to even talk about at this level. To try and I see it so clear. Like, I didn't forget anything of this entire trip, as I recall. And it was like 6 hours of these, like little lessons, things I didn't know I needed to like pull on or think.
What do you
about.
think the most important thing you took out of it was?
100%. It was my brother. Like, it was that I had a feeling now that was night and day from beginning to end of like this loss, this expectation that I had, like, oh, you're gonna be here forever to fucking do all these things together, hunt and fish and see Caleb and Madden get married and Gigi at some point, and like just like you're gonna be here and we'll fucking play music and all these things. It was like he was like, okay, got it. You had a bunch of expectations. That's all your ego. I'm still here. Like, I didn't go anywhere. And that was the biggest thing, for sure. That was like, I don't know how many, I probably had a drink too numerous, every single fucking day since he died until that point, almost. There was a couple times I'm like, okay, I was trying to sort through it, but this was like, boom. When I came out, I was like, holy shit. It was night and day. I was like, I don't even have a desire to drink to cover up the things I don't know how to process, kind of thing. Now I still drink. The relationship with alcohol, it has changed a lot. And I look at it now like the way I had a lot of time in my life. Just like it can enhance some fun. I love the taste of a good bourbon or a glass of red wine, beer. Like I really do enjoy alcohol. But like the lesson, it's like, and I told this to my niece, like, if life is good, if you think like you're doing, like you're not in a dark place particularly, have a glass of wine. Like in indigenous communities, there's a big problem with alcohol. And it's a slippery slope, man. And I've kind of like teetered, gone too far this way, try to come back, take some time off. But it's why you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's hugely important because it's not like corn juice, grape juice, or fucking barley juice. That's not, the issue is not with some liquid substance, in my opinion. It's what it's covering up, or what it's being used as a crutch to process, I guess.
Why are you using it to cope with? What are you using it to cope with?
Yeah,
is that
like,
what you're getting at?
That's what. Yeah, like there's an underlying thing. If you feel like shit, like for me, it was very clear with my brother dying. I'm like, I don't know how to fucking deal with this. Mm-hmm. I don't. The tools that I thought I had are not working. So that one, it was like temporary numbing agent, essentially.
So you've done 2 more psilocybin trips since.
Yeah.
What sparked those? You just didn't feel like you were. Did you need more?
I think the way I look at it for myself, after discovering it, I want to use it probably every year. And I'm going to look into more guided things and stuff like that. I did the first few by myself. I have a big ego, I think. I don't think I would let go as much if someone else was in the room for the first couple. And I didn't know what was going to happen either. Like, I didn't want someone supervising me and then I get violent. Yeah. Like I'm holding a dead person when I wake up or something. I'm like, I don't know what this is going to do. Now, I don't think I have any knowing what comes out of me when I've done it 3 times, but like, I have no want to be violent in it. So that was kind of a, okay. Like the whole thing, I could not imagine like being in a fucking fight when I'm on like that amount of psilocybin. So yeah, the second one was just like continuing work. Like there's still, there's just, it always offers something new, I think, from my experience. The last one I did was just at the end of this last year, October, November, something like that. And it was wild. I did 7 grams of the penis envy strain. And for this one, I went to like our little cottage beach house just by myself. Again, I lit like a couple candles, made a fire, setting, meditation. And this one was a fucking insane mental battle. Like, but by the end of fighting with myself I couldn't imagine fighting, but it was like an internal.
Let's go into
fight.
it. I'm really curious.
So I took them. They came on fucking fast, and I was like, oh shit, fuck, I did too much. I wasn't ready to do it again. Like maybe I'm jumping the gun, and it had been now 9 months or almost a year since the last time. And I didn't know. Again, I got nauseous. This time I actually threw up. And I was just in such a fucking internal battle. Like, no matter if I find that if I close my eyes, you really go deep inside. If you open your eyes and look at stuff, it comes out. But no matter where, there was just no escape. And it was like 4 hours of this. And then it was so, I almost wish I would have recorded it on a GoPro or something. The sounds I was making, man, were like a fucking animal. I remember it. And I'm like, I don't know what I was growling. Like, there was all these crazy things. I still had that like that drum beat that comes every time I take it. And I was just like fighting and growling, and I just felt like such a fucking animal. I was like, and then it was kept saying, like, you have to go through this fight. Like, your life, how you go about it, how you process things, whatever the next step is. Like, you just left the unit, you're going into the unknown. Like, you need to know that you have this fight. And I was like, fight. And then it kind of like calmed, and something came over me that was like, the best way I can describe it is like, you've graduated.
Damn.
And it was like, you are strong enough for fucking anything this world throws at you. And I was like, holy fuck, I'm getting tingly talking about it. I was like, Jesus Christ. I didn't know. The whole time, I'm like, you're just like, it was this, you're in it, you're all by yourself. Nobody's coming. This fight you have to be strong enough for. When it was all said and done, I was like, holy fuck. I'm like, I am strong enough for it. So that kind of tapered off. It was a crazy night that tested it. It was tapering off into the evening. And I was like, this is not the right way to process, by the way. I'll say that right now, what is about to go down. But I'd made an obligation early in the day for something that evening. And I pushed the start time a little bit because something happened. So it was like, I was not in a great place to be in public, but I was like, fuck, I already said I was going to do this. I'll go do it. And like, I wasn't like still like tripping, but I was like, I was now super tired, emotionally drained. I was like, okay, what a lesson. And I went and did it. It was like to go to a hockey practice and like help my nephew get ready. So I come in, like, my family's there and stuff. Sarah's like, how was it? I was like, just like tired, just trying to drink some water and like still processing everything. Like drained. And then we go to hockey, and we hadn't heard from her dad for a day and a bit, which is super unusual. Like, he called us like 3 times a day, everyone, just like, and it's like, he wasn't feeling good prior. I'm like, oh no, fuck. I'm like, did anyone go? No. And I was like, yeah, I'll go check on him after this practice. So we went to his house, and I'm like, I told Sarah to wait in the truck. She's like, oh my God, why? I'm just like, just give me a second. And I go in to his apartment, and he was dead on the ground. And I was like, fucking goddamn it. Like, I've seen a lot of dead bodies, so that part wasn't like a crazy shock to me. But I'm like, I have to go outside, and I have to tell my fiance that her dad is dead. And I got to call my friend and brother and team leader from multiple, like just her brother, that his dad is dead. And he's gonna like, I'm like, fuck. So I kind of had a little moment, and it's just like the processing was a lot easier because of the first psilocybin trip I went on. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, just kind of had it was a pleasure. And like, I'm sorry that this is how it is, but like, I know that you're around. But it was still like, I had to go outside, and I went around to her side of the door, and she fucking lost it. And she's like, no, don't, like you can imagine, like the reaction was just, it was terrible. So I called her brother, and he came down, and we just started dealing with it, and like went late into the night kind of thing. And it was just, it was such a like a terrible evening. But I find it so strange that I got that lesson right before that. Like it was just the events of it.
You don't think that's
is
a
crazy.
coincidence, do you?
No.
Yeah, I didn't
No.
think so.
I don't think it's a coincidence at all. How it all happened. But it's fucking interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Has your wife tried psilocybin since then?
No. So she has plans to.
Yeah.
She wants to. She's looking for the right place. She doesn't want to do it all alone, which I from what I read, the best way to do it is like have someone experienced kind of walk you through the process. And that's probably what I'll do going forward. I might try and the next time, and I am in no hurry to do it again right now, but when I do, I might try something like ayahuasca and have it guided and see what I get out of, a person that knows kind of where to guide these things. But yeah, she wants to at some point.
What about your brother-in-law?
I think that he will also at some point,
Is he
or
still
he
in?
might have so he's a bit of a he knows that it's fucking good. He sees that he's a health nut into all the same things, like really. So I'm not 100% sure he hasn't done it in a place and just not said anything about it. He's also kind of reserved a little bit. You might, if you weren't going to have a second Canadian on here, you might want to have a chat with him.
Right on.
If you
Give
guys
me a
got any
connect.
conspiracies, you'll be here for a long time. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of it. There's some things, again, that you need to be cautious about, but like my mother had and is having, like, just as you can imagine, her son dying, a super hard time. I know that she's interested in doing it as well. There's a couple clinics, I think, that are, it's coming into a place where it might be available soon for some of this big trauma stuff. So I'm hoping that fucking everybody does it.
Man, I know you're familiar with MAPS, right?
Yeah.
So I know they're doing a big study with MDMA, and I think they're using prisoners.
Okay.
And I can't really say anything, but there's another group that I used to be with, and they're doing studies on them with MDMA and supposedly having amazing results.
And I've heard of some that were combos as well, like psilocybin and MDMA, or wasn't yours? It was ibogaine and 5-MeO.
5-MeO DMT.
DMT, yeah.
But that wasn't a combo. I did ibogaine on I think I did ibogaine on a Wednesday, and I did 5-MeO on a Friday.
That's pretty fucking close.
It's close.
It's pretty close
but
to a combo.
It wasn't. I think what you're talking about, though, with the combo is both of them are in your
administered
system
at the same time.
time.
Yeah.
And so I haven't done that. I did a very light psilocybin journey since. Nothing like your experience. I did 2 grams and had one of the most amazing conversations with my wife that I've ever had before.
It's a magical mushroom.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think a lot of people will get a lot out of it, especially our politicians.
Yeah, man, I hope that, and I've had some friends do it after hearing my story, and there's a couple guys, and it's just like, I've never heard it not help somebody yet. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, or I'm not saying that is not possible, whatever it is, but like, it's helped every person that has taken it with like
With a purpose.
intention or not, really. Like, even some people get slapped in the face with like, here's an intention you should have had.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's huge, man. I think for guys who've gone through crazy careers in this stuff, with just what you see and what you do and the time away and the fucking just how you grow into a person in that environment. Again, this will bring you it'll shine some light on some things
Yeah,
that you
well.
might not have otherwise seen.
What do you got coming up? So now you're big in the country music scene.
Well, I'm putting my foot in the door. Yeah, so I'm here to chat with you, and then I'm gonna write songs in Nashville for the week. I've got a bunch of different appointments lined up with like these professional, like fucking real deal songwriters. So I'm super excited to learn from them and see what we can come up with. We're writing for an album to do an album to be kind of recorded between here and Canada. Yeah, and I just want to fucking meet people and play tunes. Music has always been such a big part of my life and a very therapeutic part for a lot of it also.
Do you have any particular ambition with this, or are you just
Man,
along
not
for the
really.
journey?
Like, if you would have asked 20-year-old Dallas if this was the path I was taking instead of going to JTF2, it would have been the same reason. Am I enough? Is it like, I got to prove some things. Now I just want to write good songs because I love good songs. Music has helped me so fucking much that I know that a song with truth, it can do crazy things. Like it really help people. And just some of the songs I've written now, employing them to like veteran communities and stuff. Like I've had big, strong fucking dudes like crying. They're like, man, like you can't write a song like that if you didn't have a career in this. Like it fucking hits home. And like that is crazy to have, and music does that. So I want to write good songs. I want to write fun songs too, man. Songs are great for heartache and heartbreak and hard times processing, but they're also like you have good music on when times are good, and it's that much better. So the real intention is to just fucking write good songs and play them for whoever wants to listen.
Do you still have some of those songs that you wrote about your brother, several
Yeah,
years ago?
I actually played one live for the first time. When did we play? November. And it was the first time I'd ever been able to play it in front of anyone and not like start crying. But yeah, I played that one live, and the room was silent. I couldn't believe it. And then there's a handful of people that were brought to tears, and I'm like, it's such an age-old way of connecting with someone, Yeah. That's why I like the country music that I love is they're telling the fucking truth. Like the struggle, the good time, the heartache, whatever it is, they're telling the truth in the song. So yeah, I have some of those songs. I don't know where they're gonna go. I don't know. You write songs, and sometimes I'm like, you just get it out, and then you don't touch it again. Sometimes you come back to it and play it because it connects you to something or a certain moment. I don't know. I just want to keep learning how to do it, so that I can keep doing it.
Well, man, I kind of want to wrap this up, but thank you for coming in here and sharing your story, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks so much for having me.
And I have a whole list of people that I'm dying to connect you with, and I'm going to do it as soon as we flip these cameras off. But one last question.
Yeah.
If you had 2 or 3 people to recommend for this show, who would it be?
Oh, man. Do they have to be Canadian?
They can be whoever you want.
Okay, so I think at some point, if he's ready, my brother-in-law would be a great chat. He's got a lot of war experience. He was very fucking respected. And you guys will have a fucking interesting dinner conversation also. He would be good. I think that to get a perspective maybe from the UK guys would be cool. Staz and the Through Dark guys, I can give you his contact. I don't know I know they'll be around for SHOT Show, but whenever it is, I think it could be cool to hear how the cultures are the same or different, from over there. And if it's something in a non-tactical space at some point, I got to say my sister's doing really cool things in Canada. She's really helping Indigenous community. she was like a pro boxer. She's dabbled in everything from acting to modeling and fitness, and she's, you know, like me, had a hard time processing our brother passing. But she's a fucking fighter, a scrapper, so maybe that would happen at some point. Yeah, most of it's fucking my family and my friends, man.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, seriously, I wish you the best of luck. And
Thanks so much. Yeah, fucking hell yeah.
cheers. Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.